Hello subscribers and non-subscribers, welcome back to Roommates. One thing I want to say real quick is I'm actually need to re-record this because I tried recording with Bandicam to see how that would work out. Sadly enough, that did not actually work out for me at all. So I am needing to, like I said, re-record it. So yeah. So let's go ahead and do this. We've already been to the main hall, which is this room here we're looking at. We've already investigated the study, which is Isabella, so let's head on over to the kitchen and talk to Rakesh. I think it's time to visit the kitchen. Maybe I can catch up with Rakesh. Wander down the hall into what looks like a little break room. There's a refrigerator and a microwave in there. There's even one of those little electric grills plugged in. I see Rakesh applying peanut butter to some bread slices at the counter next to the refrigerator. Digging around inside the fridge, I see a girl I don't know. Let me know when you find the jelly, Roxanne. Yes, I'm looking. I don't know if they have any. How did you talk me into this anyway? Because I make an excellent sandwich. Hey, Rakesh. Max, welcome. I will get more bread. What is a kitchen without snacks, Who's your new friend? This is Roxanne. Apparently she was staying here in the building to sort out some of her affairs. Affairs? In an old schoolhouse. That unfortunate murder case in the Great Hall is my father. He called me here under some pretense of having something to tell me. It was apparently going to be something about his new lover. Honestly, if he weren't paying my way through college, I wouldn't have listened to anything that old bag had to say. Daddy trying to buy her love? What's the matter? Did he get enough hugs? Oh, please. He was an awful man, a gambler and a drunk. He probably just fell down those stairs. I hated that man. I hated him to his bones. I won't deny it. I've got nothing to hide. Roxanne slams a jar of jelly on the counter next to Rakesh and storms out of the room. Rakesh finishes making the sandwiches and hands me one. Not holds me one. That would make no sense. So what's your deal in this crazy place, Rakesh? Yes, well, as to my story, I'm not sure if you ever saw me around the office. I was Mr. Body's bodyguard. He did not feel I was necessary when he was at his own office. Still, I saw you a time or two. He was your boss as well, eh? Did you two get along all right? Oh, yes, he was a very strict boss. One second. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go and continue. You didn't like him. Oh, that's not true at all. Well, maybe a little true. I was not fond of him, but one does not need to be fond of one's employer to remain employed. Is that correct? I suppose that's true, but surely you could have found somewhere else to work. Mr. Body was very persuasive. You don't sound like a loyal employee. Perish the thought! At any rate, I did not have anything to do with the terrible crime out there tonight. That is for certain. So where were you around 7 o'clock tonight? What time was that? An hour before we got here? I was just finishing up with an art class. I was doing I was doing a bit of life modeling. I didn't know you did that. Well, art is a bit of a side passion of mine. We both chuckle at that. Mr. Body said that he wouldn't need me tonight, so I took the opportunity. Just one last thing, Rakesh. Can you take a look at this for me? I hand him the slip of paper. Watching his reaction, he uncurls the paper, looking it over. He looks worried for a moment. It's one of his personal accounts. Not the one he pays me out of, I think. I hope it's not yours, is it? No, not mine. Probably someone else close to him then. It's definitely a personal account. Okay, well, thank you, Rakesh. Make sure to find me if you think of anything else. Most definitely. Thank you, Max. I think there was definitely more to Rakesh's relationship with Mr. Buddy than he's saying, but I'll have to figure it out as I go. As I return to the main hall, I pass by a couple of other guests in this murder mystery. I hear a quick snippet of their conversation. I hear Mr. Body was about to break things off with his mistress. No mistress takes kindly to that sort of thing, especially if they're not doing the breaking up. Well, anyway, that's another room down. Only question now is where to go next. Well, obviously, since we've investigated the main hall, this room, the study, Isabella, the kitchen just not recently, Rakesh, off to the sitting room to visit Anne. Looks just like our common room, but with a nicer TV. It even looks like someone barred in a small bar. Upon closer inspection, it looks like it's got all kinds of juices, no alcohol. Which means I immediately find it uninteresting. Anne is here on one of the small couches in a corner, writing in a small notebook. A few other people are sitting in various other parts of the room, but they all seem to be nattering about nothing. Come to think of it, I haven't really seen all those other people much. Most of them must have come in here to discuss things like a bunch of them, or looks like a bunch of them have juice glasses. Hello, Anne. Hiding out in here, huh? Well, maybe a little. I have my reasons. Well, speaking of reasons, we should talk about your story here. Come on, let's talk about you for a while, huh? Okay, Mr. Sleuth, what would you like to know? Well, how did you know Mr. Body? I only just met him a few months ago. Actually, I didn't really know him very well. He hired me to write his memoirs, you see. Do you think he had an interesting enough life for a book? I mean, was his company that successful? I've heard of a few Fortune 500 types putting out their stories. Was it like that? Yes, exactly like that. Apparently he'd heard of a few of my books before, and he wanted me to ghostwrite his story. Have you read any of my books? I wrote the Starlight Sally series that everyone was reading a few years back. I also wrote A Spy's Game is Murder, which you might know. Do those books even exist, Anne? I didn't know you'd written anything. Max, I'm in character here. Get into the spirit of it, would you? I swear I'll put a hex on you. Okay, calm down. So, you wrote some books, some really well-known books then. Yes, a lot of fantasy and fiction mostly. I told my publisher I was interested in writing some non-fiction. When he mentioned that Mr. Body was a big fan, I thought it would be my chance. And how was that book coming along? Oh, it was fine. He was an interesting subject, certainly. Anne can't meet my eyes as she says this. She stops just short of making a disgusted face. Didn't exactly make for a page turner, huh? Oh, no, I can make any story interesting. It's what I do. Did you know that Starlight Sally and the Bugmen of Xanadu was really just a story about an ant farm? #1 on the New York bestsellers list for 7 weeks, and it could have just as easily been written in a 3rd grade science report. That's how good I am. Huh. And did you have to do a lot of doctoring on Mr. Body's story? Well, how could I? It was non-fiction. Anne has gone back to writing in her little notebook. Just notes on this case. If you don't hurry, I'm going to find out the culprit before you. So, where were you at 7? You can ask the bartender at the Dog and Biscuit. He'd probably be the only one who could tell you how many I'd had, since he's the one that cut me off. Wait, what? Seriously? Max! Oh, right. Character. Sorry. Look, I don't have a drinking problem. I drink, I get drunk, I write books. No problem. Ha, that's a good one. Okay, one last question. Take a look at this for me, would you? I hand her the slip of paper and unfurls it, looking at it with confusion. Looks like a stop payment. So, wait. Is this check to me? I'll murder that bastard. Oh. Anne blushes fiercely. Well, you know, I would have, but only figuratively. I would never actually. Oh my. And does it look like it's an amount to you? Well, no. Maybe if we finally came through with that bonus, I generally make less. Whoever was making this much, or this must have been set up pretty nicely. Hell, I should have negotiated for this much. Well, thank you for your time, Anne. I'll let you get back to writing your case notes. Let me know if you come up with anything. We'll see. Good luck, detective. I'll be interested to see if you get this one right, Max. Anne looks at me appraisingly. She's really into this stuff. I think she's enjoying the intellectual challenge. I give her a little bow and head back out. As I return to the main hall, I pass by a couple of the other guests in this murder mystery. I hear a quick snippet of their conversation. Ugh, yeah, she gets so wasted, it's almost embarrassing. But usually around 7 she gets kicked out. Well, anyway, that's another room down. Only question now is where to go next. We've been everywhere, so it is time to gather the suspects and make our accusation. Butler, gather the people. I think it's time we close this case. Very well, sir. The little guy runs off to grab everyone while I collect my thoughts. Once everyone's gathered around, I stand next to the body while I eye everyone. Someone here thinks they're pretty clever. Someone thinks they've pulled the wool over my eyes. Somebody didn't count on exactly how smart I really am. I've seen the evidence. I've talked to some of you very in-depth. Isabella winks at me. The others look around at each other, sizing up what I'm going to say. And now it's time to bring this little game to a close, with me as its winner. It's all quite clear to me now. If I recall correctly, if you lied to protect Isabella when she did it, she gets a bit. You actually lose relation points with her, if I recall correctly. But you don't gain any if you accuse her, which is kind of an interesting way to go about that. In fact, I don't think you gain any relation points with anybody if you accuse them when they actually did it. But if you accuse them when they didn't do it, you lose points. And I think if you protect them when they did it, you lose points. Because they find that it ruins the fun or something like that, I guess. But we know Isabella did it because there was a stop payment. She was the mistress. And, well, I mean, honestly, that's about the only thing that would make sense. So, Isabella did it. We shall accuse her. I take a deep breath, and as I pass my gaze across everyone in the room once more, it's a tale as old as time, really. Successful boss gets himself a pretty I was about to say pretty mistress. No, a pretty secretary. Because his mistress obviously has to be his secretary. Figures he can string her along and have his fun. And once he's done with his fun, or once he's had his fun, he can toss her to the curb like so many others. Isabella's face is darkening as she looks at me, but I can't stop now. Of course, no woman appreciates being tossed to the curb. Which is why when she came to what she thought was a party and discovered it was in fact her sugar daddy cutting her off, she snapped. Isn't that right, Isabella? Isabella turns her anger into a seductive glance, not glaze. Glaze would make no sense. You've had your fun, now tell us who really did it. Surely you don't actually think I did it. Sorry, babe, you're not getting off that easily. I've got to give you a little more help. You didn't get here at 7. The butler would have heard the fight leading up to the murder. I have no doubt your alibi checks out until almost 7. But you checked out a little early, didn't you? You got here while the butler was away. You and Buddy had a little talk about your arrangement. Buddy cut you off. You fought and grabbed the first thing to hand, smashing his head in, then smashing his watch when you were done. And by the blood on the adjustment knob on his watch, I can tell it was you who set the time back to 7 so your alibi would check out. You probably staged the fight with Chad to cement your alibi. The final piece of the puzzle, the stop payment request. It was for you, wasn't it? Fine, you got me. He was supposed to set me up for life. It was worth a little fling, or it would have been if he'd come through on his end of the bargain. But apparently he decided he didn't want me getting my own on the side, that hypocrite. Whatever, I'm sorry I did die. I didn't intend for it to happen, but no one crosses me, you hear me? No one. Well done, Max. You have solved the mystery. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I want to thank you all for coming to the Alpha Theta Rho, or Rio or Rho? I don't know. I guess Rio. I want to say Rio. We'll assume it's Rio. Fraternity's Murder Mystery Evening. If you would like, please feel free to join us for a party proper at our house. Everyone claps loudly for the butler who takes a bow. People start heading out the door. The Latin House roomies gather in the lot. I can't believe how much fun that was. Did you see me in there? Definitely. Clearly, you need to channel some of that all the time, Anne. Oh yeah, you were definitely working it. She wasn't the only one. Well, hey, if you got it, flaunt it. Though I can't believe they made me the other woman for some some skeezy old businessman. Well, if the shoe fits, watch it, jackass. Everyone laughs as Isabella starts chasing me around, threatening to bite me. That was a lot of fun to pretend to be someone else for an evening. I suppose that is what Halloween is all about, yes? I suppose that's very true, Rakesh. Nice work. Well, now that I'm done with pretending to be a sexy office worker, I think it's time to pretend to be a drunken vampire. Who wants to go get some research material? Here, here! I definitely did not say that right, but whatever. Really should be here, here! Are you really just going to pretend to be drunk? No, Rakesh. No. Who would pretend to be drunk? Everyone just stares at Rakesh for a moment before we all head off, laughing, to the frat house. And I think I might cut this off once we start the new week. So, save there. And 1 second though, I'm going to go and actually check the time. Okay, we were looking at about 16 minutes, and I would like to end this at about the 20-minute mark. However, I didn't set a timer, so that doesn't help me at all. So I'm just going to go and I think set this up for focusing on improving the skill requirements for Sally. So we're pretty far off for the active. However, for the spontaneous, we're pretty damn close. So we need to improve our active. So that's spontaneous. That is not what I want. I want... Is it see a play or play chess? Or that? No, that is organized. Okay, so none of that is helpful. We need that. But which one of these is it that gives me this? Is it football? Yeah, football gives me that. So... none of those gives me what I want. So we'll take a nap there, take a nap there, take a nap there, wall climbing there, rather than, we'll stick with going to the pubs, but we'll study there, there, and study there. No, okay, yoga doesn't give me that, so, continue going to the pub. So I think that is a fairly reasonable way of setting this up. During the morning, Monday through Friday, go to the class. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday night, you study. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday night, you go to the pub, you take a nap. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoon, but you go to the football team thing. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday afternoons, with wall climbing on Sunday afternoon. And of course, sleep in bed Saturday and Sunday morning. Don't wake up until about noon, of course, obviously. Yeah, I think that works. Honestly, that should put the grades up relatively high. Our energy should be pretty much maxed out almost permanently. Except for maybe if we do a boatload of events, it may actually drop, but I think for the most part it'll be sitting at about 100% pretty much all the time. Because that's plus 5. So that's 2 plus 5s there, and plus 5s there. So that's 25 points right there. Actually, no, yeah. Okay, so, no, actually we'll probably lose some unless I change one of the... Okay, if I change some of these studies to sleep early, so... You study there and sleep early Thursday evening. Yeah, that should be fine. I actually lose money on those. Okay. So I lose money when I go to the pub. That's understandable, actually. Never really paid attention to that, to be completely honest with you. I also lose money wall climbing, but I gain money from football. But I don't think I'm going to gain the money I need now if I nap all that often. So let's see, what is our highest skill besides spontaneous? That would be organized. So Wednesday we'll take a nap, but we'll work in the bookstore Mondays and Fridays. Once I level up my football thing from being football water boy to something else, I think that goes to farming. I think that will improve the money I make, and that'll also, I believe, improve the amount of active points I gain each time. But I'm not sure if the energy you lose increases as well, or if it stays the same. Huh. Well, that's not that important, but we'll go ahead and save, and we'll find basically we'll figure out if this schedule here works, essentially on the next episode, because I'm cutting this off here. So as always, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, goodbye and farewell.